Hi, my name's Vanessa. I'm here today to do a demonstration on how to cook a roast chicken dinner and some roast vegetables. So welcome to this presentation slash class. And as you can see behind me, I'm in a bit of a funny kitchen, but I'm living in a shed at the moment because I'm building a house. So that's what it is. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how to plan, shop and cook for a roast chicken dinner for a family of 4. I'm going to tell you a little bit about food safety, and there'll be an opportunity for questions and any feedback at the end and as we go along. And so I'm just going to now quickly tell you about the food and the equipment that we're going to be using. So over here you can see we have a steamer, which we'll be using to cook our green vegetables. We have some pans and some brown baking paper, which we'll be using. Of course, we've got some tea towels. Then we have a measuring bowl and some measuring spoons. Then getting into our food, we've got salt and pepper. We've got all our vegetables here. We've got our cauliflower, carrot, sweet potato, onion, green beans, and a pumpkin. And we also have a nut, which is all mainly organic, which I got from a local grower. And then we have a Inglewood organic chicken, which you can get at most supermarkets. And then we also have a organic vegetable stock, which is a little bit expensive, but it's very well worth buying because it's really good flavour, and also it lasts a really long time. And then we also have our organic olive oil, which has very good flavour and is very good to cook with. And then lastly, we also have some gravy, because I'm a bit short of time today, and so we don't have time to make gravy from scratch. So this is not organic, but it tastes really good and it doesn't have any nasties. So now we're going to start our prep. So first of all, we're going to put a cup of stock in our baking pan. So I've got 1 cup of water in a measuring jug, and I'm just going to get a teaspoon of stock. This one is a teaspoon, yes. Oh, shimmers, that's a bit. Right, good. Just give that a stir. And then we can pop that in, thank you. Pop that in our pan.
Why do you put the stock in the pan for? What's the purpose of that?
It's to help keep the chicken juicy whilst we're cooking it, so it'll come out nice and crispy skin, but nice and juicy on the inside.
Great, thanks.
Spatchcock the chicken, so we're just going to cut it down the middle. So you just need a very sharp pair of scissors and just start to giving that a cut. So I've now cut the chicken up the middle, and so now what we're going to do is be giving it a good push to break the bones. So we're just going to be going like that, and so seeing how it's nice and flat now, so then that means it's going to cook up very nicely in our pan. So I'm just going to now go over to the table and put olive oil on it and salt and pepper, so that we can get it in the pan. So a good amount of olive oil and a good amount of salt. Now we're just going to cover it in some foil. And so we're going to cook it like this just to get the chicken itself cooked and then crisp up the skin later. So I've now popped in some vegetables, so some carrots, some onion, and a couple of cloves of garlic and some salt and pepper onto the chicken. And now we're going to be popping it into the oven. Popping it in my mini oven at 160 degrees for 1 hour, and then we're going to uncover it and let the skin get crispy. So I'm just sitting here to start preparing my vegetables, but I forgot one essential ingredient to when you're cooking on, especially on a Saturday night, is that you need a nice glass of wine. So I'm just going to pour myself a little glass of wine to have whilst we are preparing our meal. So we're going to get started on our vegetables. So first of all, we have two organic sweet potatoes. So we don't need to we don't need to peel these because they're organic. And I've washed them. So that's one really good thing about organic vegetables, is that you do not need to peel them because there is nothing bad on them. So as long as you wash them, it's all good. So let's get these chopped up.
Could I just ask a question?
Of course.
So you're cooking for a family of 4, so just wondering, like, will you need all these veggies you've got here, or is that more than what you need? I'm just wondering.
Yeah, so good question. So this is probably more than what we'll need, but we'll just sort of chop and see. So this is quite a large sweet potato, so we'll just chop it down the middle first. And see, so as you can see, if we chop this in half again, that's quite a good size for a person. Like,
yeah, that looks good.
Chop.
Yeah, okay, I think, that looks nice.
So all these vegetables are going to be going in the oven for about an hour to an hour and a half, along with the chicken. So we can keep them quite big. So that's why these are going to be pretty big. So if you were pressed on time, you could make them smaller. Okay, so we're just going to peel. So we've got some potatoes, which these are also organic, but you can see they're a little bit dirty. So we're going to actually peel these. So I'm going to do 4 because we're doing it for a family of 4. So let's just give these a quick peel. So just while I do this, I'm just going to talk a little bit about food safety. So obviously, when you're in the kitchen, there's a few hazards. You could burn yourself or cut yourself with a knife. So you just need to be making sure that you know what's on and what's hot, etc. And obviously you need to be careful with looking at how long meat and things that can go off out of the fridge. So for instance, our chicken, we only had that out of the fridge for a few minutes, and then we were getting that straight into the oven. So that's what you need to be making sure that you're doing. So if you're gonna, put your chicken in with your veg, you would leave your chicken in the fridge, or you could prepare it all and then pop it back in the fridge, and then get it out when you're going to be popping it into the oven. So we've now peeled our potatoes and I've just given them a quick wash, and now I'm just going to chop these into half as well to plop these on our tray. I've just decided as well to just do the 3 because we've got lots of other vegetables going on and we only have one tray because we have our tiny oven. So that's what we're going to do. We've got this nice pumpkin here, so I'm going to chop this in half. I think it looks too big, so let's chop this in half again. I'm going to cut my hand off, so again, I'm just going to stand up and do that. So I'm just cutting my pumpkin into some nice sized pieces to be cooked, and my pan's getting a bit full, so I'm just going to do these little bits. And that's all that's going to fit in there because we're getting, as I said, a bit full. So now on to our veg. We're just going to go some olive oil. Good amount of olive oil, like Jamie Oliver always says. And Nigella, you can't have too much olive oil. So that's good. And also going to go a bit of salt and pepper. Well,
Why do you use that sort of salt?
So this is Celtic sea salt, and it's very nice in flavour and has lots of health benefits, and also doesn't have a lot of the additives that are in some other salts.
Oh, okay. And how long will those veggies take to cook, did you say?
So these are going to still take about at least an hour. We're going
Okay.
to check them after an hour,
Okay.
and then we will see how they're going then. Oops.
And why do you use the baking paper?
So the baking paper just makes it easier to clean up
Oh, okay.
and makes it better for easier to get everything out of the pan.
Okay.
Be popping these into the oven now. I've prepared vegetables, so popping them on the top shelf with the chicken underneath, and voila, we will have a roast dinner in 1 hour. Now we're just going to be preparing our green vegetables for our steamer. So we've got our steamer pots with the holes on the bottom. So let's just quickly do that so that we can then sit down and have a glass of wine, and also I can tell you a little bit about planning and shopping for this meal. Actually just break the cauliflower apart. So that's a nice big one, but we can just sort of break that in half and then break this sort of up a little bit. And oopsie daisy, we're dropping everything, that's fine. Pop that in. So this is a good amount, like I said, for 4 people. And if you had more people, you could just obviously use a little bit more. Now we've got our green beans. So I'm just gonna grab a handful of those, and I'm just gonna top and tail them. So what I do is I'll get rid of that. Just line these up so that we can just go chop like that. And then the other end, and same.
And do you don't wash those either? You don't worry because
No, we don't need to wash these because they're organic, and we can just, yeah, they're going to get steamed anyway, so they're going to get a bit clean in the steamer. So I'm just going to do a little bit more. Another handful. Oopsie daisy, things are flying all over the place. And another. Oops, that one's already done. And we can just go this again. And I'm not going to bother chopping them up anymore. They're nice like that. They'll come up very nice. And I might just do a few more. So that's how many we've got. We'll just do another handful. Oops, that one's a bit yuck. We'll just chop that. Yep. And I think that's about sufficient now for 4 people.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's about good for 4 people.
Lovely.
And so now what we're going to do is we can get our chop, give that a little one. So then now what we do is we've got the base of the pot, which we'll put water in here, and then obviously put our other vegetables on top, and then we'll just have that all prepared, ready to go, so that about 20 minutes before everything else is ready to be cooked, we can then put the veg on, and they'll cook for about 15-20 minutes. Does anyone have any questions at this stage?
No, I don't think so. I think that looks great. And why do you choose to steam them instead of boil them?
They just come up a little bit, not a bit fresher, a bit more crispy, and they just don't tend to get as overcooked. So you can boil them if you like, but yeah, this way they just tend to be a little bit crisper and fresher.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, that's all right. So next we're going to talk about shopping and budgeting and preparing for the meal. So now we're going to take the foil off the chicken. All these vegetables are looking good. Let's just do that. And just being very careful because it's very hot. Oh, this is looking delicious. So now we're going to be popping this back in the oven on 180, which I've already put the oven to 180, and letting it cook for another hour, another half an hour. but I'm just having a little difficulty. So now we're popping it back in the oven. And the vegetables are looking very nice. I'm going to turn these around. Right. Oopsie daisy. Right, I think, okay. Right, good. So now I've decided just to move everything around because the vegetables were getting very done and the chicken needs to be on the top shelf where it's warmer. So I'm just popping this now in. Right, so another half an hour we go. So 1.5 hours and everything's all cooked. So we've got our veg and our chicken, and we have our steamed veg over here.
You should stick a bottle.
Bon appetit.